Okay. Hello guys, my name is Edison. I'm CEO of Original My, and I'm working in this field for many years. I started on Bitcoin in 2011. Then, for having an idea, in 2016, I did a hackathon back in Brazil. And in that hackathon, it was an international hackathon, I produced a workshop like for Pokemon gaming, a Pokemon market. Because at the time I play Pokemon, I love Pokemon Go. And at that time, it was not possible to trade Pokemons. And it was horrible because we had the Pokemons. We earned those Pokemons and you could not trade with our friends. Then I built a platform with Pokecoin. I tokenized the Pokemons. We were not talking about NFTs at that time yet. NFTs were not like, the name NFTs were not like in the market. Then I produced the Pokemons as a digital asset and DEX for trading, a decentralized exchange for trading the Pokemons. And then I'm doing workshops for a long time since then. And one interesting thing, just a fun fact about the video that was showed before, I am skydiver. I have more than 1,100 jumps, and photographer, camera flyer, and musician. I work as a musician for a long time as well. So I did a lot of things, and that video was so cool. Who over here is already working with Web3? Raise your hands. Okay, developing for Ethereum? Designing, okay. And one more developer over
Payments.
there. How, sorry?
Web3 payments.
Oh, payments, okay.
Not payments, Web3 payments.
Payments, okay.
Big difference.
Different, yeah. And in the end of this workshop, if you have time, like I have some giveaway. It's not an airdrop, but a giveaway of Satoshis, Bitcoin. You just have to like download the wallet on your mobile phone, like a wallet of Satoshi. Then we can give away some Satoshis to show it's possible to do like microtransactions on Bitcoin as well using Lightning Network. But right now we'll talk about Web3.
Can I mention something real quick?
Yeah.
There's a Slido in the Telegram. For those who know what a Slido is, you can actually ask questions there. So during any point, if you have questions, whatever, just go to the Telegram group, the ETHTallinn Web3 Telegram group, and then you can ask questions through the Slido, and then we'll be able to answer it at the end. So, have anything you can say for that, or if he feels free, if he needs to answer questions during it, you can.
Okay.
But yeah.
So, well, you use MetaMask, but just in the end of the presentation. Our agenda, what is a blockchain? I'll be very fast on that because our time is so tight today. And how blockchain works as a protocol, talking about Ethereum, mainly about Ethereum, use cases, and some examples we can do for like launching our own token. That's the thing, like the goal of this presentation is going through the practice for launching our own token and other kind of NFT if you want. We'll just see how we can do that thing in a very easy way. Then blockchain as a protocol. We all know everything started with Bitcoin. Satoshi Nakamoto produced Bitcoin as a transactional blockchain. The blockchain was the deal with the Bitcoin blockchain was doing transactions between two parties without an intermediary. That's the thing. It was not possible. Well, Bitcoin can like doing some computing, but very small computing. We have some very primitive scripts on Bitcoin. We can do something like multisigs. We can like schedule a payment to happen after some time, but we can't in Bitcoin do some complex things. It's impossible. There are no things attached to Bitcoin providing that kind of thing. We have layer 2 right now, some layer 2s working, but on Bitcoin natively, it's almost impossible doing some complex things. Then Vitalik was wondering how we can put computing inside of the blockchain, because a lot of products were appearing around Bitcoin at the time. We had tokenization on Bitcoin, but it was very hard to do. So and some satellite protocol doing that. We had some NFTs on Bitcoin, but another project just for working with NFTs. We have some computing, but as like a side project doing computing on Bitcoin. Then Vitalik was wondering, oh, and what if we put everything in the same protocol together, doing computation inside the protocol? Then he wrote a paper about Ethereum, and Ethereum came to life. Then with Ethereum, the most important thing of Ethereum right now is about the smart contracts, because we can put rules on our transaction. We can have programmable money. We could not have it before like we have on Ethereum. And the problem with smart contracts is basically the name. A few years ago, I was working on ISO, the International Standards Organization, working with blockchain and doing the new standards for identities, cybersecurity, and other topics. Mostly of the people working were like lawyers, because we were talking about smart contracts, and lawyers were thinking, oh, it's about smart contracts. Contracts is my field, so smart contracts is like about my role, my thing. And it was not. They didn't understand, they understood nothing about the thing. And then I prefer to call it as DApps. People understand better when we talk about decentralized applications. The term, they are smart contracts, but like applications we had before in Web 2, we had applications that could not handle money. And right now, your application can manage money and payments and votes and many other things we could not have on Web. Well, we could have on Web 2, but using a third party, using something connected to the system or an intermediary doing that thing. And right now we can do almost everything on chain on a very transparent way, open source mostly. It's very important if it's open source. If it's not, you can't like, oh, it's not for me. And it was the first time, as I said, an application could manage its own financial resources. Like in the future, we will have cars like handling their own money, going to the gas station or to doing the maintenance and receiving the payments by itself. Maybe. Then a lot of potential cases we have building things using blockchains today. And how we will have a hackathon in a few months, we can have a lot of ideas, but the general scope is we can use blockchain for tracking, we can use blockchain for public records like real estate, lands, vehicle registrations, licenses, passports, IDs, a lot of projects appearing, emerging in ID field. We can have intangibles, patents, trademarks, reservations, domain names, financials, money, stocks, loans, investment, and crowdfunding. Financials was the easier way for understanding the things because almost all the companies in 2016, 2017 used that thing for doing their own crowdfundings through ICOs. We can use for voting. And I built a protocol for secret voting on public blockchains using Ethereum. In 2018, I went to Silicon Valley to an acceleration program. Then I built that. It was the first project doing voting, secret voting on public blockchains. It's published on my GitHub. I can share with you after. Banks, oh God, banks are crazy because of this thing, our field. Supply chain and physical objects, tracking diamonds, paintings, trees, and something like that. About the generations of blockchains, we already know Bitcoin was the first that worked. We had other tryouts of blockchains, but they never happened because of double spending, and Bitcoin solved the double spending problem. Then second generation with Ethereum, bringing the possibility of applications having their own life and managing their own money. And now we have third generations and others like Solana, Polkadot, and even Ethereum on the Ethereum 2. We have Cardano and Polygon. Polygon is a very important player in this ecosystem because it's possible to build everything we can build on Ethereum, we can build in Polygon. It's cheaper. Now, it's not faster because the timing for registering the things today is almost the same, but it's much cheaper. So everything you can prototype. I have some jokes in my office telling people like Polygon is the lab of Ethereum. People want to play and develop great things. They try to do it. They do it cheaper on Polygon and than Ethereum today. Then Ethereum 2.0. What's happened? Ethereum before was proof of work, and now it's proof of stake. Who are okay with those terms? Do you know about proof of work? Some of people, some about proof of stake, heard about. What happened was, like Bitcoin used proof of work. For proof of work, you need a lot of computing for processing the transactions and the data for putting that thing in the blockchain. So who has more power in computing has more chances to mine the block, to find a block, to audit the block, validate the block, and put in the block in the network. So that's the thing. In proof of work, how Bitcoin works, that's why Bitcoin people say, oh, it spends a lot of energy. For sure, if you have computing resources and you have to allocate a lot of computer resources to be the first one for validating the block, it's expensive. It's a lot of energy. Then looking into that, Vitalik, well, since the beginning of Ethereum, he said it was changing for proof of stake at some point. It was very delayed, but it happened. Proof of stake, in the other side, you have a different way for validating the things. To have more chances for being the validator of a block and receiving the reward for being the first, you will have to lock your economic resources in the blockchain. So instead of putting power, you are putting money. That's the difference between them. So with Bitcoin, more computing power, you have more chances to receive the reward. With Ethereum, more money in the network you have, more bigger are your chances to be the validator and receiving the reward. That's the change. And as you have more economic, as you have in that kind of economic resources for locking the economic resources in the network, you don't need that energy Bitcoin needs. Then with stake, it helps to secure Ethereum. You can earn rewards. Right now, you need to lock 32 Ether in the blockchain, on the smart contract, to be a validator. And Vitalik is talking about right now to increase that number to 4,096 Ethers to be a validator. And then you can, like regular person, real people, can go to a pool and stake together with other people. Like central, I don't like that he is doing, because you could centralize the pools and the staking of Ethereum right now. But that's what a validator does. If you are a validator right now with 32 Ethers over there, you can store data, you can process all the transactions, and you can add new blocks. You have different roles, different agents working in the network right now, doing each of those things. But in general, a validator can do all of those things. And you can stake less of 32 Ether using a pool like Lido. If you don't have the 32, you can go to a Lido, for example, or others. Then, okay, let's pass through here. So the roadmap for Ethereum right now, we were, before the fork, the merge, we had just the main edge of Ethereum. And at some point, he split it and created another blockchain named the Beacon Chain. And one important thing we need to know about Beacon Chain, he's like a coordinator but a decentralized coordinator for Ethereum. So before we had the proof of work network, the mainnet, and at some point, Ethereum named it as the merge. It was an event. They docked the mainnet in the Beacon chain, and Ethereum became a proof of stake, and that's the name, Ethereum 2.0. The next steps of Ethereum right now, they are working on sharding. Sharding, the same way the mainnet docked in the Beacon chain, Ethereum is planning for the future for scaling Ethereum. They want to dock at like 64 new networks in parallel. So the transactions could potentially be processed in parallel and increasing the velocity and scaling Ethereum in the future. So that's the roadmap. The simpler way for doing the roadmap is very complex. If you get the image of the roadmap of Vitalik, you go crazy because there are long of strange names like Splurge, the Plunge, this a lot of crazy names there. Let's talk about Ethereum virtual machine, the EVM, the parts of Ethereum, how Ethereum works. The EVM is it's not the most important part, but it's very important because it's the part that processes all the transactions. And when you run a node of Ethereum, we will run the EVM. EVM has a place to run the code, the program, a place to store the things, so it can read from a storage. The storage is in blockchain world, we name it, it's like state. Every time you listen someone talking about the state of blockchain, they are talking about the storage of the blockchain. And they are trying to limit how the storage of the blockchain is growing, limiting the states for growing like infinitely. So we have the storage, that's it's the persistent part of the blockchain, the blocks per se, where all the information is stored, and some memory over there. So the EVM is capable of running the projects and the decentralized apps. Then gas. What is gas? It's a very complex thing, but it's easy to understand when you see gas is the unit for running all the process of this virtual computer. Because since Ethereum is processing and executing decentralized apps, it's using computing process for computing time. Everything, every method, everything on Ethereum has a price to run, everything. If you want to store some information in the blockchain, you need to pay even more. If you just need to read something that's already stored there, it's for free. But if you need to like doing math, adding some numbers, you have to pay for the computer, do the processing on that operation. So gas is the unit for paying for computing resources, computing time on Ethereum. More complex is your DApp, more you need to pay for the network processing the thing. Then we have the gas available, we have the program counter, is like a counter, it is a counter. The EVM who will do the operations. For the operations, you pay gas. If you need to stack some information on top of another, doing math or doing calculations, you pay more gas. If you need to store the thing in the storage, you pay more gas. And if you need to send a message to other smart contracts or other person, you pay more gas. So gas is the unit being used for paying for computing time of Ethereum. We had a fork on Ethereum a few years ago, the EIP 1559. What happened? The way for calculating the gas right now differs from before. If you have some like smart contracts, old smart contracts running, they change it the way the network will calculate the amount of gas you need to pay to run the thing. Right now, after the EIP, you can, for every operation your smart contract is doing, you calculate the sum of all the gas used, then you multiply for the base fee and the priority fee. The base fee is something that the networks, like you need to pay as a standard, and the priority fee is something you give to the miners, to the validators, to be to have a priority. So you decide that. What's the difference? Before EIP 1559, all the gas you were paying, they went to the miners. Everything went to the miners. Then after some point, they chose burn part of that gas, up a big chunk of that gas you were paying. So instead of going to miners or validators right now, they are being burned. Then right now the calculation is here. So it's easy. All operation, every operation on Ethereum has the amount of gas you need to pay to execute that. So it's the sum of the thing, multiply for the base fee plus the priority fee. Then you can have the entire gas. And if you don't want to publish the thing, you don't know how much gas you will spend for something that are doing a transaction, Etherscan, they have some calculations on the, if you have time and you don't need your transaction running like right now, you can have a low payment, like you have the base fee, the priority fee. So in average, for having your transactions settled on Ethereum, $2.50 for 3 minutes. If you have it in 30 seconds, it's almost the same. So Ethereum is pretty cheap right now. It's like last week, it was like $60 for doing something over there. So you can use this website for calculating the fee. And before sending your smart contract, the transaction to your smart contract, Ethereum has a method named estimate gas. So it does a simulation before sending the transaction, actual transaction. It calculates all the fees, send it back to you, then you decide how much you pay for the transaction being settled and sent. Well, how we pay gas? With Ether. So you must have Ether on your wallet for paying the gas, for sending transactions and doing operations on the smart contracts over there. So it's a must-have thing. And a lot of people, they say, oh, I'll buy some Ethereum in the exchange. No, the Ethereum is the name of the protocol. Ether is the unit you can use for paying the gas and rewarding people. Another concept we must know is about accounts. We have basically two kinds of accounts running on Ethereum right now, and a third one is being developed. The externally owned account, people name it, it's like EOA. You will always see people writing about Ethereum, you will see EOA. It's the account where you have your own private keys, or your user, your customer has the private key. They will use like MetaMask, or they will use a hardware wallet and import that private key and have their own account. So all the assets stored on that private key will be, the owner will be the person who has the private key. And we have the contract-based account. It's a smart contract. All smart contracts in the network, Ethereum network, they have an address very similar of the address of your own wallet. Very similar, but it belongs to a contract. It belongs to a decentralized app. You can send funds to that app. The app will decide what it will do with the funds. It can return, it can split payments, it can get a part of like a fee and send the rest for another person. So they are the most used. And now Ethereum is doing something very complex, the account abstraction. Why? Because people don't know how to handle their own private keys. And it's painful because a lot of people lose their funds just because they are not doing backups or they are not storing that private key properly. And it's not hard to do, but it's another step you should do every time you are handling something in the crypto space. But people are not doing that. And people are losing funds. And then they developed an entire protocol for account abstraction where the user, your customer, the person who will be using your smart contracts, they don't need to have the private key. You do almost everything in behalf of the person, the smart contract. So that's why it's more complex, because you have the bundlers right now, and they will do all the process and the operations for the user in behalf of the user, and they are creating a new role over here, the paymaster. It's the person who is paying the gas. Because right now, every time, every operation you want to do on Ethereum, you need to pay gas. If I want to, like, there's some airdrop of NFTs, and I want to get that NFT, I need to pay, even if the NFT is for free, I need to pay the gas to get the thing in my wallet. And right now with this, with the paymaster, they can pay for everything in behalf of you. So the user is just a regular user, like Web2 user, and all the protocol will handle the rest. But they're building, the protocol is very advanced already, but it's not fully implemented. And a transaction, everything you do on Ethereum is a transaction. A transaction could be just transferring funds to another person or interacting with a smart contract. Both of them are transactions on Ethereum. For both of them, you need to pay gas. Somehow you will exchange messages with an account, another account, a contract, and be refunded by something or spend some Ether on gas. Very fast on use cases. This is a very beautiful project. They launched it in 2015. I know those guys, and it was a lock for an apartment, but a smart lock. A smart lock for a hotel, for example, where you could, instead of going to the administration of a hotel and booking an apartment, you could talk to the lock on the door. And then the lock, oh, I'll be available. This apartment behind me will be available from this date to this date. Then you tell the lock, I want this apartment being booked from this day to another day. It sends back the prices. You pay to the lock, and then the lock delivered the keys for opening the lock. Then you could go to the apartment, use the apartment, and after some time it could be locked, because it expired the time you could be there. So this product was amazing at the time they launched it. And Arcade City is another project trying to replace Uber, because in Texas, Uber had a lot of problems with the taxis over there. And the difference around the rest of the world is in Texas, people can carry guns. And so it was not very good for Uber trying to compete with taxis over there with armed people in the streets. So they built Arcade City as an alternative to Uber, open source, and using all the intelligence being managed by smart contracts. Theta, doing a CDN using a blockchain. So instead of going to Google or Amazon AWS to using CloudFront as CDN for your projects, you could have distribution of videos and images on internet being monetized in a decentralized way. So that they are trying to build that kind of thing. And USDC, it's been accepted over here, is a stable coin from dollar. They built on top of Ethereum. Right now, Nasdaq and all the traditional and the legacy financial system, they are trying to build everything using our ecosystem. Filecoin, they are trying to solve storage, decentralized storage around the world. CBDC, they are coming. That's the digital money created by the governments. And for myself, I don't know if it's a good idea, the government having a programmable money on their hands, but it's another topic for the time, maybe for the network time. DeFi, on decentralized finance. So when Ethereum came, a lot of new kind of finances were being built on Ethereum. And we had DAI with MakerDAO, probably one of the first doing something in this field, and they are very, very alive. There are a lot of fights inside their community, but they are very hot project inside Ethereum, very important one. We had the time for ICOs between 2016, 2018, something. And we have had Uniswap appearing at some point. So MakerDAO, they produced a stable coin, controlled where it was stable to dollar, but the control was for stabilizing that coin, that token, was using a lot of algorithms and voting from their own community. So it was the first one, the first stable coin, very decentralized, the real decentralized stable coin. Uniswap, they created the very first trading protocol, and it is one of the biggest projects in this field. Compound, for like lending money. Aave, for doing flash loans. You can get loans over there, and it's interesting because you can have a kind of loan where you get the money, and if you use the money and pay back with the, like, I forgot the term, you pay back everything in the same block, then it's okay, and you can earn the profits from that transaction. So people are doing crazy things because you don't need to have any kind of money to prove you had that amount. You just get the money, do the flash loan, and if you pay back in the same block, everything's fine. Lido, where people are staking Ether together. And yield farming, I don't know if you are okay, so if you know about that term. People are using that crazy thing they built in the Ethereum ecosystem right now. It's totally crazy how it works. That's why it crashes all the time. Because people created some pools for putting the money over there. But the pool is rewarding people with their own token. They create a token and they reward people. So more tokens you put in the pool, you receive the pool token as a reward. Then they get that pool token as a reward and stake that in another pool and receive another pool token as a reward. And they get that new pool token and put on another pool. That's totally crazy thing. I really don't know how it still stand up like that working. That's why it crashes all the time. And if one crashes, it brings all the things together. It's crazy, but it's working somehow. And here in finance, people are using to make investments easier on stable coins. It manages everything. We have a lot of identity cases. Uport on Polygon doing with zero knowledge proofs. It's very interesting project on identity. And original, my company, we do a lot of things in identity, in proving the authenticity of information on the internet, even for cases like back in Brazil, where the project is running mostly. There's a lot of harassment, cyberbullying on internet around the world, but in Brazil it's crazy, and fake news dissemination and all the things that happen on internet, on Twitter, right? It's crazy. Then we created a tool. One of the tools is for preserving the content, and it creates a report to be used in court cases. So if you need to prove something was on the internet at some point, my tool is helping people to provide those kind of proofs. Why? Because in Brazil, before my tool, we needed to go to notaries, and it's a picture of a notary in Brazil. And you have a lot of queues, a lot of time, and a lot of bureaucracy to get a stamp on a document to prove the document is authentic. Then I created something that it's a line going to the notary. And if you sign a contract in Brazil, you need to get a stamp on top of each signature of the contract. And sometimes people register their signatures in different notaries. So you need to go to each notary where each signature is registered to get a stamp on top of each signature. It's crazy. We're in Estonia. We think, when we see this kind of thing, oh my God, why? Then that's why I built everything for that place. So it's a e-governance platform doing almost the same you have in Estonia, but we are doing for companies and other countries where like they don't have a lot of digital things connected over there. Even for approving laws, my tools are being used in Brazil right now. They are recognizing the signatures for public petitions, and laws are being created using that kind of tool. We have the proof of authenticity. During the COVID times, we participated in some hackathons. We were top solutions for COVID. Open prescription is totally open source on GitHub, and here in Estonia, it's normal. You go to the clinic, you receive everything digitally. You go to the pharmacy, and they have everything registered over there. In Brazil, and other countries, you need to go to a clinic, get a paper, and take the paper to the pharmacy, and they will try to validate everything. And my tool was built during COVID times to avoid the handling paper thing. So validating the doctor, validating the prescription, everything, and the tool don't store any information about the treatment. Don't store anything, but can prove everything. The protocol I built for voting, the name is HEL, the security voting on public blockchains. And we participated here in Europe in many things. We were very awarded. We were recognized by UN as a real blockchain use case doing social impact for governments and public institutions. I was invited to be a e-residency envoy here in Estonia right now, and some of our awards. And one interesting thing we got in 2021 was a bronze lion in Cannes Festival, doing NFTs, trying to prove censorship in Brazil. Because our authorities over there, they started to block a lot of, they use it like Twitter as a public media, but they started to block a lot of citizens and journalists for having access to their public information. Then we built something where people could prove if they were blocked by some authority, they could receive an NFT totally different, representing the authority, the problem they had, what was blocked, the kind of content. And people were like showing, oh, I was blocked by some guy just to prove the thing, and we got that award. Well, I'll not talk about DAOs. I'll not talk about metaverse right now, gaming, and probably we're very aware about the things we can do in that field. NFTs, for sure, you heard something about, but let's do something more hands-on. I don't know how much time we have. I know we are short in time.
We have about 20 minutes.
20 minutes, okay, 20 minutes is enough. Let's go. Then the code of web, it was sold as NFT by Tim Berners-Lee. It was crazy. It was one of the biggest NFTs at that time. Right now, the guy who bought the thing was like a scammer, and the price of that NFT was like low right now. It's crazy. As of most of the NFTs, some people got the hype, and now a lot of people are crying because of the thing. But it happens. It's our ecosystem. It's crazy. We can't control anything. SweetBlock is the project for the censorship I did in 2021. You have the links if you want to see the video. There's a video over there. I will not show right now. Come on. Okay. And development. Let's do something, or let's see how we can do something at least. I'll talk about some technologies we will use right now. Solidity is the language I will show you. There's the other languages for doing smart contracts on Ethereum as well, like Serpent. Solidity is very common and similar to JavaScript for developers. And Serpent is similar to Python. So depending on how the developer is familiar with those languages, they can prefer to use one or other. Right now we use Solidity. I think for starting something, JavaScript or Solidity, they are easier to get something working and faster. And okay, it's an example of some code in Solidity. This code is for minting, is a contract for minting, for creating a token, for issuing a token, and minting something like 1 million tokens over here. The name of this token is my new token, and there's an owner and some permissions, special permissions. Over here, this permission is for a system paying the gas in behalf of the person. So we will not use this on our token right now, but it's an example. For developers, it's very easy to read because you can use libraries, and it's very easy, real easy, because instead of doing right now, today, a few years ago, it was crazy. We needed to code everything by ourselves. And doing calculations on smart contracts is pretty tricky because you can get some security issues depending on the calculations you do. And your smart contract could be hacked. So instead of using that kind of thing, I will show you, we are using a technology developed by OpenZeppelin. All the smart contracts they are producing are audited, and they are safer than you doing your thing by yourself. So prefer to use libraries from OpenZeppelin instead of doing everything by yourself, because a lot of people, they are hacking bridges. And yesterday, Harmony, or Ethereum based, they found a way for issuing a limited number of Harmony tokens. So I think it was yesterday. And bridges are being hacked. Everything's being hacked all the time. And we have reentrancy problems on smart contracts. Using libraries from that kind of group, the OpenZeppelin, you will be safer, for sure. Web3.js is the library you will use for interacting with your smart contracts. So if you are a developer, using Web3.js is a very easy way for interacting with your node or a third-party node like Infura. So you can take a node, because probably you use that on the hackathon for building your things. Remix, that's the tool I will show you how to deploy some smart contract to not running everything on your notebook, on your machine. So you can prototype using the platform instead of publishing on your machine. But if you need more people connecting to test some tool, then it's preferred installing everything on your own laptop and people can connect together. Hard Hat. Hard Hat is a tool for building smart contracts. So they built it's not a platform. You download everything and build an, how's the name? It's not an IDA, it's like the framework, it's a framework. Hard Hat's a framework for building your smart contracts. So you can use Hard Hat from the beginning, then you can get the smart contracts from OpenZeppelin, for example. Then you can compile, you can test before publishing your smart contracts. You can test everything from hard hat. Then you can publish and deploy your smart contract locally or on the real thing, the blockchain, the public blockchain. For the hard hat, I put a slide with some content over here. How you can deploy something over there. I can show the steps, but how you can deploy something? You can install hard hat. You need Node.js, okay? Node.js version 2021, it doesn't work. So take a note of this information, because if they are trying to develop something for the newer Node.js, it will not work. But the previous version to work. So you can install using NPM. I don't like NPM for Yarn, but as developers, you know it's like a war between NPM and Yarn. Then you can start the project. You can compile your smart contract, test it, run a node, a local node on your computer. Then you can deploy your smart contracts on your own node. Then you can even like connect MetaMask to transfer tokens. You can connect anything, and people can connect on your node as well. It's a thin node just for development. It has nothing with the original node from Ethereum. It's just for development. Every time you run this command, it starts a node from scratch. So it doesn't store any information you had before. So if you created and built and deployed smart contracts, then you just like Control-C and stop the thing and start it again. You need to deploy everything again. And OpenZeppelin, the kind of smart contracts I'm suggesting you to use, you don't need to use, you can create everything by yourself, but I really suggest going to OpenZeppelin to create like tokens or voting or NFTs. Use their thing as template to be easier. And when you are doing some apps, interacting with real world blockchains like Polygon, like Ethereum or others, then you can use this infrastructure in Infura. They built everything for, you don't need to have your own nodes running on your machines, on your infrastructure or AWS. It's pretty expensive. Like for Ethereum right now, it's almost 1 terabyte of storage, just of storage, and a lot of memory and a lot of computing processing power to run the node. So it can be expensive. It's preferable if you run your own node, but it's expensive. We know that. Running the infrastructure is expensive. Then you can use Infura. You can use for free for a volume of transactions. Then you can pay something, it's pretty cheap per month to scale your thing. Let me show you something here right now. I want to deploy, to use some smart contracts here, and I'll show you an easy way to test something and get into your first steps on Ethereum, issuing your own token if you want to like play around. So they have on OpenZeppelin this this link on the presentation. It's like a template. You can change if you want to regular token. ERC20 is the acronym of the token. You can use ERC20. If you want to do some NFTs, we have two protocols: the ERC721, E1155. This is modern, this is old, okay? And okay, let's get the code. I don't want to code anything right now because I'm lazy. I just use the examples of the templates to do something faster. So let's define the name of my token. Some suggestion? Come on. ETHTallinn. ETHTallinn. Good one. The symbol, ETH. Could be? Yeah, could be. The pre-mint, let's put 1 million. 1 million tokens. So we will create, when we issue this token, we'll create 1 million ETH tokens at a time. Here we have some options. Mintable, I can mint more tokens after, so the contract will be open to mint new tokens. So we have 1 million. If you somehow need 2 million, we can go there and mint more tokens. So it could be mintable. Burnable, I can burn an excess amount of tokens if I want. So I can I pause the smart contract if you're running something heavy and you detect your platform is being hacked? Probably want to be able to pause the protocol at some point. So you could just turn the thing on. The permit we will not use right now, but it's for the platform paying the gas in behalf of you. We will not do that right now, but you just check the market and enable the code over there. Can we do voting? Can we do like having an owner? We will have roles and access control, or it will be managed by another smart contract. You can choose your options. And can you upgrade the smart contract? This is very important over here. Let me close this. Writing anything on blockchain is like you're writing in stone. Everything that is written over there, you can't change. Just can't. You can write a new information and pointing the thing to the new information, but the older information will be there forever. Smart contracts, when they are stored on a blockchain, you can't do an update. Oh, I forgot something, I need to add a new feature. You just can't do that thing. It's impossible. And that's why they developed new protocols for being able to upgrade your projects. But it's tricky because for doing that, they will start with, the name is a proxy smart contract, who will point the address of your, the real smart contract who will do something. So every time you need to do something in the second smart contract, like, oh, issue a new token or do a transfer, you need to talk to the proxy who will send a message to the smart contract, to the final smart contract to process the operation. And it can be like expensive doing that kind of thing, because instead of using one smart contract, now you are using 2 or more, or a lot of smart contracts for relaying the information. So it could be very expensive going there. A contact and the license. Let's get the remix, as I said to you, and open the thing on that tool provided by Ethereum Foundation, where we can prototype, we can test, we can deploy a lot of things in the browser. It can like emulate the entire environment, doing everything in the browser. So the entire code is already here. Let's start by compiling our code. Let's see if it works. Okay, compiled. So it's working. I can publish it on a storage like IPFS or Swarm. We will not do that right now. They are decentralized storage. If you want to publish the code, make it available. Now we will deploy the thing. So it is compiled. It was transformed from a developer language to a computer language. It's like right now it's binary, and it can be published on a blockchain to be executed as an application by the EVM. Then we have some addresses here, and let's start deploying the initial owner of this this contract. Let's get the first address over here. Copy it. Because I want to deploy. The smart contract should have an owner, because that account will be responsible for everything, doing everything over there initially. Then, okay, it was deployed. You can see over here. Now it has an address, and the deployed contract is over here. One interesting thing from Remix, you can deploy to different forks Ethereum had, like previous forks. Since the, oh my God, Goerli is very old, very, very old. And the Shanghai is the actual. You can deploy to a custom place, or if you run your own node on your machine, you can deploy that smart contract instead of deploying the browser, you can deploy on your own node. Or from the node, then you have the code you can deploy on the real blockchain, the public one, like a hard hat provider. And then, okay, we need to deploy again. Come on. Okay, it's deployed. Now, what we can do over here, we have some fields that are just for reading information. For reading information from the blue fields, they are read only. You don't spend gas. You don't need to pay the network for reading the information on the blockchain. And the yellow, orange ones are writing operations. So you need to pay gas. Right now, every account has like 100 Ether as example, just as example. Or for publishing, it spent some Ether it simulated spending some Ether just for deploying the smart contract over there. But 100 Ether they created from air just for testing purposes. And let's see something we can do here. Let's see how many tokens this account has. So we created 1 million tokens, and this token has 18 decimal cases. So let's see the total supply. That's why it's like 1 million plus 18 zeros. Then let's see the balance of this account, the owner account. The same thing. One thing we can do right now is transferring some tokens to another account using Remix, just for testing purposes, for demonstrating the thing. Let's get the address, the second address over here, the ABH something. Let me get this address. And let's transfer something. Transfer to this address, like 1,000. Okay, transfer. It executed something over here. And now we check how many tokens the second one has. Has less tokens. Oh, it was the same. Let me get this. It has less 1,000 tokens, and this one, because of the zeros, it will be hard to see, but oh, just 1,000, just 1,000. Okay, so that's a way to simulate how I can interact with the smart contract. I can publish something, I can do it, everything using the templates. Like if I'm talking about tokens, ERC20 tokens, or an NFT as well, you can do it using the templates from the Open Zeppelin. It sends the thing to the Remix. On Remix, you can play around, sending, transferring, and testing something. Is it okay here? And now probably we are almost out of time. And on this presentation, I have more information, and I like it. I was wondering I could even showing a node running over here and integrating the MetaMask to the place. So probably we'll have another session in the future soon. Then we can get from there and go in more advanced, okay? So we have some questions, maybe. Let's see on online and over here. Okay, but over here, if anyone has questions, it's your time.
Is it possible to get the slides later? So
Yes, everything. everything will be shared with you. And this slide, this presentation, I have here. Let me just go through the rest of the presentation here, because there's just one more slide over here, and this slide will have links. So all the links of everything I showed in the presentation are here. Even for Ethereum, like if you're dev and you want to start working with smart contracts or playing with that thing, all the links over here can help you. Even there's a link even for, let me see, workshop from AWS. If you are developing something in React and want to integrate your app in React to the Ethereum blockchain, or it could be Ethereum, but could be Polygon, could be, I don't know, anything, as the ZKNet and all the others. Okay, you can build even React app on that thing, and all the links are here. So we can go if you have questions. That's your time.
Yeah. Is there a technical reason why Polygon is cheaper than Ethereum, or it just is?
It has much more tokens issued than Ethereum from the very beginning. So we know the scarcity of the token is very, we can correlate the scarcity of the token with the price of the token. I say price is different from value, but the price is related to the scarcity of the thing. Then we have the trust and other things, team, the project roadmap and everything to evaluate some token. But Polygon, they published like, as I remember, billions of tokens, billions. And Ethereum right now we have 121 million tokens around the market right now. So it's a big difference. So there's much more Matic in the market than Ethereum. And Matic, they are different because they're a little more centralized. Because of the validators as well, the way Polygon is doing their thing, it's more centralized than Ethereum. Probably the trust and the team of Polygon, I think they are doing great things, but the centralization of part of the blockchain and the number of the tokens can have a lot of influence on the price. That's why it's cheaper, much cheaper. And the next.
So you were explaining this gas, but I didn't like really understand how. I mean, at the end, like these gases, you said, for instance, is burned, right?
Yeah.
Like it's gone.
Part of the gas is burned right now.
Yeah. Let's say it's burned, then the amount of like total Ethereum or any other token is like dropping eventually.
Yeah,
or like what's
eventually.
happening?
That's the thing. Sometimes it's burning more Ether than rewarding the validators. Then, like, it's decreasing in the time. In the long term, they are saying it's deflationary. But most of the time, they are issuing more tokens as reward than burning. Then it's increasing, and then it becomes inflationary again. So on Ethereum, it really depends on the operations people are doing on the network. We can't guess if it will be deflationary or really inflationary in the future. They say the calculations they did, like they are thinking something about an inflation of maximum of 2% in a year, maximum, and running most of the rest of the time with the deflation, because they are issuing money, issuing tokens and burning tokens, issuing tokens and burning tokens. So the final calculation is to have like 2% inflation per year, but doesn't depend on people. Like we can't guess really, just estimation. Okay.
So recently about this ETFs, about Bitcoin ETFs and Ethereum.
Oh,
yeah. So my question is, first of all, what do you think? Second is, if you own an Ethereum-based ETF, does that mean that you get something through the staking and the pool, like some sort of dividends or like?
I know that. Well, one thing, I have a show, a daily show about the ecosystem. I'm doing that show since 2021, and every day I have the show, but it's in Portuguese, it's not in English. And I'm talking about everything that's happening in our ecosystem, governments, regulations, and developments, and hackings, and security, and everything, even AI. On ETFs, Bitcoin, on the first line of the paper, Satoshi Nakamoto described Bitcoin as a way for transferring money without an intermediary. And ETF is a way for buying Bitcoin with banks. So from that perspective, it's like a crazy thing. It will open space for people who could not buy Bitcoin by themselves. But I don't know if it's the correct way. We need to teach people how to store and doing the self-custody of their own Bitcoins and other tokens. Everything. They should be able to store that with themselves, because if you leave your tokens, Bitcoin or other tokens, on an exchange can be hacked, can be blocked, and any government can go there and get everything. Like yesterday, Venezuela, they had a government exchange over there. It was crazy. They just got all the balances of the users, transferred everything to their own money, and closed the exchange. So if anyone in the country had Bitcoin in the exchange, it was converted to bolivars, the Venezuela money. Government can do that kind of thing. So if your token, your altcoin, your NFT, your Bitcoin, anything, your meme coin, your everything is stored on your own private keys, on your cold wallet with you, like, oh, you can have a ledger, can have Trezor and many others, then you will be safe of everything. And so the first thing is, I don't like much ETFs because of they are putting an intermediary. So the people, we have a lot of unbanked people in the world. Banks don't like those people, the poor people. They just don't like those people. They don't want those people in the system. Bitcoin was created for helping you have your own freedom in this digital world. You're self-sovereign in this digital world. And when the coins are going to banks again, they will control the narrative and they will decide who will have access to that kind of thing. So I'm a little against that kind of, you understand my point. And the second one, the Ether ETF.
Yeah, the staking.
They are discussing the format. There's no established format yet for 3 minutes. We don't have a format for Ether ETF because one thing, if banks are storing the staking, you are staking with the bank, it could be a security. And they are trying to move the image of a security away from Ethereum. Because if the government, United States, they decide Ether is a security, all the exchanges, they will have to work under another rules and need to be like prohibitive for them. So they are trying to do something like, right now on Bitcoin ETF, they have the custodians. The custodian will get the ETH and do stake, maybe. That's one format they are discussing. And you have like a voucher. The ETF could be a kind of voucher for that kind of format. Not staking with them, but they will have the Ether staked. Different way. You can't stake directly with the ETF. The ETF will not be for staking, because it could transform Ether on security. So they are changing the way to try to sell the thing as they are selling the Bitcoin. Like they are selling like shares, and then you can trade the shares, and who will do the staking will be the custodian. It's one of the format they are trying to pass to not make Ethereum as a security, because it could be a huge problem for everyone in the world. Okay.
Thank you.
Any question? So I think thank you very much for and oh, if you want to contact with me, I am from again from Original My, and if you downloaded the wallet of Satoshi on your mobile phones, I can exchange some Satoshis to you right now.